This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first, like to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouthwatering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
At Sierra, you'll always find apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. But right now, it's clearance time, so you can save even more on everything you need to get active and outside. Visit your local Sierra store today.
Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our Quick Publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Daily Red, your lunchtime catch-up on all things Liverpool FC on a Tuesday, where the Reds are still top of the league, top of the Champions League, and facing Tottenham tomorrow night in the League Cup semi-final. A lot of discourse still going on around Trent, his performance at the weekend, some excuses being made, a lot of condemnation. I definitely fall more on the condemnation side for that performance than anything else. But, ultimately, we're leading a title race. We're in a very strong position. And the entire focus needs to be on it and not on minutiae. And it's on the people that work for the club, including the manager, the sporting director, the CEO of football, the ownership, and of course the players, to rally round Trent and get his head back in the game and get him focused on what needs to take place over the next 5.5 months, which is that he needs to perform well, because when he plays well, Liverpool play better. That's how important he is. He's not as vital as he was under Klopp, but he's still a very, very important player for us. And he's still one of our best players. He's still one of the best players in the league. So while he's at the club, he needs to perform that way. And if he's not going to, that's when you need to have conversations. So let's look at the news and what else is going on, because we could go on and on about the Trent stuff, but I think we're all talked out about it for now. Let's see how he reacts. Let's see what the next performance is for him. We've seen in the past when he's come in for heavy criticism for a performance that he's bounced back with really strong performances. And if it is a thing where he's decided to go and he knows he's going to leave in the summer and there's going to be backlash, he's going to know that the best way to minimize that backlash is to leave on a high, delivering a Premier League title, his second Premier League title. And if he does that, and he's key to that, and he performs at his very best level, while there will be criticism and there will be some bad feeling, I do think ultimately, if he's delivered a second league title, people will be more willing to forget, more willing to forgive, and more willing to being open to, keeping him heavily involved in Liverpool post-playing career. Not in the way McManaman is treated, not in the way Owen is treated. Even if, in my view, both of them had more reason to leave than he has. Right, let's move on. This is Anfield, the lead story. Liverpool could have room at Milos Kerkez after Bournemouth confirm left-back signing. So Bournemouth signing Julio Soler, the young Argentine left-back, very promising, very highly regarded. And many people are saying, well, that means that they're going to move on Kerkez. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the case. They obviously bought Kerkez with the intention of flipping him for a significant profit down the road. But let's be honest, the kid is coming from Argentina. He's 19. It's unlikely that he's going to be close to ready to step in. Bournemouth didn't have a good backup left back. That was one weakness in their squad, was that there was some concern that Kerkez was going to be overplayed. So they can afford to bring in Soler, and kind of slow walk it. And maybe for 18 months, they have Kerkez as the starter and Soler as the backup. And then in the summer of 2026, maybe they move on Kerkez. Because the way Bournemouth will likely look at it is the longer they keep Kerkez there, the more he'll improve, the more he'll develop, and the higher his value will be. So rather than taking, say, 40 to 45 million in the summer of 2025, potentially it's 60 million in the summer of 2026. And I know 60 million is a lot for a fullback, but that's the way the game is going. I mean, it's not that long since Chelsea paid 60 million for Cucurella. They paid 50 million for Ben Chilwell a number of years before that. We've seen City repeatedly spend 50 plus million on fullbacks: Kyle Walker, Benjamin Mendy, João Cancelo. You know, Newcastle spent, I think, was it 35 on Lewis Hall with very little experience, and a similar amount on Tino Livramento coming off a torn ACL. So fullbacks are becoming more expensive in the market. I also think that there are better options out there for us than Milos Kerkez. As good as he is, and as good as I think he's going to be, like, I do think he's going to be a hell of a player. I think right now, there's no question that Aït-Nouri's a significantly better player. I think there's other, maybe more defensive options out there that we could be looking at as well. You know, someone like Lukeba, who, although a centre-back by trade, fits really well as a left-back. There's also the option of someone like a Patrick Dorgu. And I read an interesting thread on Twitter yesterday. I quote tweeted it. There's a lot of like overblown nonsense in there. There's a lot of terminology that doesn't really mean anything outside of tactical Twitter. But the purpose of the thread is well pointed, and there are a lot of good, strong arguments made in favor of a Patrick Dorgu. You know, you look at his physical profile at 6'2", well built. He's the type that has really good raw materials in both directions, you know, to be a big, physical, powerful defender. And then he's kind of a unicorn going forward with his combination of size, speed, and dribbling ability. So someone like Dorgu might make more sense for us. He's a year younger than Kerkez. He just turned 20 in October. He has a decent amount of experience. This is his second full season with Lecce. He's been capped 4 times already by the Danish national team. And he'll be cheaper. Like, you're probably looking at 30 to 35 for him. Maybe even a little bit less. Maybe even less. Like, the last really good left back to come from Serie A to the Premier League would be Destiny Udogie. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Spurs paid less than 20. Yeah, 20 million euros. So about, what's that, 17 million pounds? So, you know, there's not a huge amount of overpricing that goes on with Serie A clubs. they do tend to be a bit more realistic about their demands. And Doggy definitely had more experience than he's more experienced now than Dorgu, despite only being 2 years older. But by the end of this season, you'll be looking at them being in and around the same kind of age. What Dorgu is now to what an experience level, what Dorgu will be to what Udogie was. And Udogie dropped into the Premier League, and it has always looked very comfortable. Like, he's got some defensive flaws without question, but he's a cracker of a player. And he's one I think we'd all have some interest in. But because he's already been to a Premier League club, the price will be sky high. That's why I do think someone like a Dorgu could make a lot of sense. And it's an argument I intend to make Friday on the transfer committee pod, which we're very hopeful of getting recorded. Arne Slot refuses to confirm goalkeeper for the Tottenham game. He says the players should know. Well, my expectation is that Caoimhín Kelleher would start. So Arne is maybe hinting more at Alisson starting. And maybe then Caoimhín starts in the FA Cup at the weekend. So that could be good. That could make sense. Caoimhín's obviously been good this season. He deserves to play one of the two games. Myself and Carl on the most recent scouting suggested maybe he get one and Yaros play the other. Yaros potentially play against Accrington with Caoimhín playing tonight. But if Arne wants to go with Alisson, you're certainly not going to complain. Arne Slot defends Trent Alexander-Arnold, but has been shown what he needs to improve. I mean, the first thing he needs to improve is his attitude. I mean, that's the biggest thing that's come out of the weekend. It's his attitude. Now, Arne's very good at kind of limiting the blame that goes to the players, something Jurgen was obviously very, very good at as well. I'm sure behind closed doors there will be criticism to Trent, and there will have been some harsh words exchanged. But I've liked the way Arne has handled this. I didn't so much love the way he dropped in a little bit of blame on McAllister for the second goal against United. Like, Trent is the near post defender and Robbo is the one that loses his man. I think they're the two you really need to be looking at. The fact that Alexis was back there, you would ask questions of where our defensive midfielder was, because he's the one that should have been back there but wasn't, because he'd been caught up the pitch. So I do think, maybe it's the thing that he knows Alexis can take the criticism and won't be at all bothered, whereas, Trent, because he's under a media storm, Robbo, because he has been coming in for a lot of criticism, which clearly Robbo himself had heard, given some of the interviews he's done in recent months. But it left a little bad taste that he went and kind of dropped McAllister in, because Alexis played in midfield by himself at the weekend. Liverpool on course for third highest Premier League points total at halfway stage. So obviously the year we won the league, the year we finished second with 97, and then this one would be the 3. Liverpool looked into Nico Williams' transfer. Arsenal want him now. So though Liverpool ended up only signing Federico Chiesa last summer, they did show interest in transfers for other players, including Nico Williams, and David Ornstein is the one that has reported this.
Imagine what's possible when learning doesn't get in the way of life. At Capella University, our game-changing FlexPath learning format lets you set your own deadline so you can learn at a time and pace that works for you. It's an education you can tailor to your schedule. That means you don't have to put your life on hold to pursue your professional goals. Instead, enjoy learning your way and earn your degree without missing a beat. A different future is closer than you think with Capella University. Learn more at capella.edu.
Mikel Arteta, he also goes on to say Mikel Arteta would like to sign Williams in this window, but the finances involved make it highly unlikely. Williams seems very, very happy where he is. like, I do expect that he'll move on at some point, but it's worth remembering that when his brother Inaki was of a similar age, when he was, 19, 20, 21, there was an awful lot of talk that he was going to move on as well. And that he wouldn't stick around, that he would, go on to bigger and better things. And yet here we are many, many years later, and Inaki Williams is now 30. He'll turn 31 in the summer. And he is a Bilbao lifer. He's 446 games into his Athletic Bilbao career. And he plays pretty much every week. He rarely misses a game. And maybe Nico makes the same decision. Like, there's a lot to be said for being the star man at what is still a big club. Like, Bilbao, I suppose, would be the Newcastle of Spain in a way. Huge local fan base, regional fan base. Don't get the national spin the way a lot of other clubs do, but they're a big, big club, and they've had some success. They won the Copa del Rey last season. They won the Super Copa a couple of years before that. Maybe Nico thinks that he's just better off staying there, because he will be adored there. Whereas if he goes elsewhere and maybe struggles a little bit, you know what happens. We've seen it happen so many times in Spanish football with players who move to big clubs, the big clubs, Real and Barca. It doesn't really work out for them. And all of a sudden, the fans turn on them, and it can really torpedo their careers. So maybe he just wants to stay there. And that might have been the feeling we got when we inquired about it, is that he's not a guy who's ready to leave. Like, people always dismiss Bilbao and say, they're just a small club, but they're not. Again, they're a massive regional club. And they're a club that have had, historically, a ton of success. They've won 8 La Liga titles. They've won 24 Copa del Reys. Like, they are a big club. They went through a drought of success from 84 when they won the double up until last season when they won the Copa del Rey. But, they are a big club that have had a lot of success. And I think winning things there will mean more than winning them at Barcelona or Real Madrid, where you're expected to win. And truthfully, at Real Madrid, anything less than winning both league title and Champions League in a season is kind of not really celebrated. If you don't win a European Cup, you're seen as a failure. I mean, Fabio Capello went there twice, won the league twice in both seasons, and got sacked after a season each time, because they don't really value the league even that much. And with Barca, like, this is a club digging themselves into a financial hole they may never get out of in order to try and win league titles, when really and truly they should be clearing the books, clearing the debt, spending the next 3 to 4 years rebuilding the club and taking a more long-term approach. But they don't do that. Everything is now with these clubs. Nico's a tremendous player. A tremendous player. He is a little bit inconsistent still, and I do have some significant concerns about some of the injuries. But you certainly wouldn't say no if he was an option for us. I would still say if we're going to buy a right winger, a left winger, Kvicha Kvaratskhelia is the one to go and get. Kvaratskhelia makes just the most sense for us as a goal scorer and a creator. And I think physically he'll hold up better long term as well, because he doesn't rely on explosive movement. He's rapid, but he's not like an explosive athlete the way Williams is. We had a very fun back and forth last night between Mo Salah and Jamie Carragher on social media. Mo put up a picture And it was of himself and Trent standing over the free kick against United, and Virgil is in the background. And people were saying, oh, well, he knows what he's doing here. You know, it's a picture of the three of them and whatever. And Carragher was on Sky and turned around and said, well, Van Dijk has come out of the situation in the highest esteem of the three, because, you know, he hasn't done anything that, you know, Carragher obviously tried to make Mo, speaking to the media, selfish, which it wasn't. And, you know, it was quite comical for Carragher to be the one to say that. And then obviously with the Trent stuff, I think he's right about the Trent stuff. I do think Trent's people and Trent himself would have known about that offer from Madrid, and I wouldn't be surprised if they encouraged the offer from Madrid. But, you know, he had a lot to say on Monday Night Football. And then Mo quote tweeted Sky Sports News with the clip of Carragher saying, I think Salah and Alexander-Arnold could take a leaf out of Van Dijk's book. And the caption is, Cara23 reacts to Salah's cryptic social media post and praises Van Dijk's professionalism. There was nothing really cryptic about it. It was quite obvious what he was doing. Well, Salah retweets that with, I'm starting to think you're obsessed with me, and a little wink. And then Carragher, to his credit, you know, never one to back down on social media, is Carragher. I've always been obsessed with you, Mo Salah. Hopefully that obsession will continue next season. Fingers crossed. And the smiley face emoji with the wink and the tongue out. And look, Carragher, in that regard, does speak for everybody. Like, we all want Mo to be at the club next season. We do. We all want Mo. Like, there's no Liverpool. Well, there might be one or two morons, but all Liverpool fans want Salah at the club next year. All Liverpool fans want that. And I understand that a lot of people are growing frustrated with the contract stuff. It's completely understandable that they are, because it has been going on now seemingly for the longest time. But look, these are not small deals to do. These are enormous financial commitments that we'd be making to these three players. And the club are also trying to weigh up, you know, we need to buy now. We all know we need to buy now. We desperately need a left back, and we desperately need a holding midfielder. And we could use a striker, and we could use an upgrade on the left wing. Though, into their defence, Gakpo and Diaz are both playing really well this year. So left wing isn't a need immediately, but I don't think Diaz is long for this club. He's got 2 years left in his deal after this one. I kind of be surprised he's still with us next season. You're looking for a Darwin upgrade. I think you're going to be looking for Diaz replacement. They should go some way towards paying for those replacements. But left back, that's fresh money that we'll have to invest. Costas is not going to bring a big fee. Robbo's not going to bring a big fee, and a left back will be expensive, like I said earlier. We need a holding midfielder. Now, selling Morton and selling Endo potentially in the summer, that could go some way towards paying for that. I mean, if you got 15 for Morton, 10 for Endo, that's 25. Let's say Varela would cost 50. So you're talking about 25 million outlay. So if it was just 25 million there, let's say 40 at left back, that's 65. We've got Mamardashvili to pay for as well, remember, that's 100. Then you're looking at, let's say Darwin out, João Pedro in. Let's say we get 40 for Darwin and we pay 70 for João. That's another 30. So that's 130. Let's say then we get 55 for Diaz, and let's say Kvaratskhelia would cost 75. So that's 150 million. Now, we'd have Kelleher to sell. Potentially Harvey to sell. I wouldn't be surprised. Doak goes. We could sell Basetic. you could sell Gomez, but then you're going to need to buy a centre back, and we might need to do that anyway. But like there's probably, let's say 30 for Kelleher, 35 for 35 for Harvey, maybe 40 for Harvey, depending on who's interested. Let's say 10 for Costas. You're probably then looking at, somewhere in the region of about a 70 to 80 million net spend. But what if you have to replace Trent? That's another 60 million. Because you're going to have to buy from the top shelf. What if you have to replace Mo? That's 70, 80 million. What if you have to replace Virgil? How do you even go about replacing Mo or Virgil? Like, replacing Trent as a profile is impossible, and we can't do that. But we can replace him as a right back. Quite easily, we can replace him as a right back. There are many players who are just as good as him as right backs. They're not as good as him as footballers, but as a right back, as purely a right back. Like, Koundé's a better right back than Trent. Hakimi's a better right back than Trent. Porro's a better right back. They're not nearly as good a footballer as Trent. None of them are. Because Trent is he's so unique. He's a right back, a right midfielder, a central midfielder, all in one. So then you have to figure out, well, if Trent is gone, yeah, we can maybe go and get Jules Koundé, right? There's 60 million. And we're better defensively now. And he's a really good right back. But what about the passing? Doesn't pass like Trent. So now we've only got Mo in the team, who's really high end at unlocking defenses. Alexis is very good, but he's not on the level of Mo or Trent. So now do we have to go and buy something else? Well, if we've bought Kvaratskhelia, maybe that answers that. That could be fine. But these are all things that need to be figured out. How did I get onto this? I don't even know how I got on to talking about this. Anyway, Stefan Bajcetic was subbed on and then subbed off again for Red Bull Salzburg. I think they were playing Bayern Munich. They were. And they got walloped 6-0. So he got brought on at half-time. He played 35 minutes and was subbed off. That's not great. It doesn't sound like he played terribly. Maybe it was just about protecting his fitness or something. Maybe it says here there has been some illness in the Salzburg camp, so maybe he's just getting over that. There are the reports, obviously, that we're going to pull him back and send him on loan to Betis. Not sure I like that. I don't think he gets in the team at Betis. I think I'd rather send him to, a lesser club. On to AnfieldIndex.com. There's a piece about Virgil, a piece about Trent, a piece about Williams. There's a Carabao Cup semi-final preview. And there is a piece about news that Elon Musk is interested in buying Liverpool. His father, I believe his name is Errol, who's married to his own stepdaughter and has kids with her, which is, just the type of family they are. And he said that Elon Musk's grandmother, I think, comes from Liverpool. And Elon has an affinity for the city because of the Beatles or some such shite. And look, if Elon Musk buys Liverpool, I'm out. I would rather the Saudis bought us than him. He is the worst set of lads on the planet. And if you're someone that goes online and shills for him, how do them boots taste? Podcast-wise, there is the new David Lynch podcast. There is the post-conference presser. where Dave Davis went over what Arne had to say. There is obviously Arne's press conference as well. And there is the scouted looking at the United game and ahead to the Tottenham game. And that's it. That's all for today. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.
This podcast is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.
This just in, hot off the bench press. Planet Fitness has added new strength equipment. Save $28 or more when you join today, and you can be one of the first to try it out. We're raising the bar with new benches, and our new hack squat will have you actually looking forward to leg day. Plus, we're still repping all of the best-in-class equipment we've always had, with most clubs open 24 hours, so you can work out your way on your time. So let's do this. Join Planet Fitness today and save $28 or more. Just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends January 10th. See Home Club for details.